All right, hey everybody. Today we're going to learn how to simplify square roots. It's one of your 2 worksheets for the week. I'm also going to check the con on graphing lines next Sunday, May 17th. If you haven't gotten to that yet, try to get to it by next Sunday. And basically, guys, we're going to do 2 worksheets this week. We're going to do one kind of tricky worksheet next week. And then the final week, I'm just going to have nothing assigned. If you're behind on work, please catch up either prior to that or just use that week to catch up. If you're caught up with everything and you have an A in the class, you get to start your summer early. So today we're going to learn how to simplify square roots. It's a skill that maybe some of you have. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I really hate the way most teachers teach it. I kind of like the way I teach it for a couple reasons. And it's just a skill you want to have to do math. So I like you to pause video about 3 seconds here. And I want to first, before we do this, guys, we have to get our list of our perfect squares. So I think you can see that here. Please pause the video, guys, and write down those 10 things. This is going to be your notes for this section. You kind of need all of these. So please pause the video and please write down square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9. Please write those all down. You're going to need this for the worksheet we do today. Okay, hopefully you got that. Hopefully you paused the video and wrote that. And basically, guys, you might say, well, wait a minute. I already know this. You might say the square root of 1, well, that's just equal to 1. And I know it's equal to 1 because 1 times 1 is 1. Not that hard. What's the square root of 4? 2. Because again, 2 times 2 is 4, therefore the square root of 4 is 2. And you kind of see a pattern here. We know the square root of 9 is 3. We know the square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. You get the idea. And we would say those are, in math, those are our first 10 perfect squares. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100. We say in math, those are our first 10 perfect squares. And again, that's not really the goal of the day, is to learn how to take the square root of 100. I'm hoping most of you knew how to do that. The goal of the day, and you'll see on the problems in the worksheet, is to take square roots of numbers that are not perfect squares. So hopefully you have this. This is your notes, guys. You need to have this out when you do the assignment. All right. So the worksheet posted on posted on edsby rather, from Kuda. Let's do some examples. So simplifying square root worksheet, we're going to do number 1 together. So we have the square root of 96. I'm very aware, so again, the number 1 is the square root of 96. I'm very aware that you could pull out a calculator, type in the square root of 96, and it'll kick out a decimal. Fantastic. We don't care. We want to get an exact number here. That's going to be a rounded answer. It's really not impressive. There's a non-calc portion to the SAT. There's a non-calc portion to your AP Calculus exam someday. You want to be able to do these by hand. How we do that, you should have your list of perfect squares beside you. Looking for a number on that list that can be divided into 96. Okay? Now you might say, well, 1 goes into 96. 1 goes into everything, so we don't want to use 1. Find one of those numbers, either 4, 9, 16, one of those numbers. Find the biggest one you can find that goes into 96. This is a part, guys, where if you're not great at mental math, you might want to have a calculator here to help you, to assist you. You may not rely on it if you can't do it. So on your own, guys, if you can't do it in your head, do 96 divided by 25. See if 25 goes in there. Do 96 divided by 16. See if 16 goes in there. So try to find a number of the perfect squares that goes into 96. Hopefully you found that 16 goes into it. $16 is the largest perfect square that goes into 96. 64 doesn't, 49 doesn't, 36 doesn't, 25 doesn't, 16 goes into 96. Let me ask you, what is 16? 16 times what gets me 96? It'd be 6. If you can't do it in your head, just do 96 divided by 16 gets me 6. Pause here. The square root of 96 is equal to the square root of 16 times the square root of 6. This is just basic operations. Just like 16 times 6 is 96, the square root of 16 times the square root of 6 is 96. Okay, what is the square root of 16? What is the square root of 16? It's just 4. We got that in the notes. The square root of 16 is 4. And then you look at square root of 6. Well, none of the perfect squares we have, 4, 9, 16, none of those go into 6. So we're just going to leave square root of 6 as square root of 6. And we're done. Sometimes they don't put the dot there. They just put 4 square root of 6. That's fine. And that's the right answer. I understand the answer online, guys. Do not just give me the question and the answer. I need at least one line of work for all these, okay? So first, write the problem. Line 2, find the perfect square that goes into it. If there's excuse me, if there's no perfect square that goes into it, we call it prime, but there usually is. So let's do number 3 right now, guys. So number 3 is the square root of 98. Can you on your own find the biggest perfect square that goes into 98? You should have gotten 49. 98 is divisible by 49, I should say. And you might say, well, how did you do it in your head? Just, there is no shame in this. Pull out your calculator and do 98 divided by 4. Does it go into it? 98 divided by 9. Check all of your perfect squares. It's going to work for one of them. 98 divided by 49 is 2. Therefore, the square root of 49 times the square root of 2 is 98. So we've just broke it down. Okay, I may ask you, what is the square root of 49? You look at your notes. What is the square root of 49? It's just 7. And we get square root of 2. Okay, let's do, I'm going to probably do one more here. I'll probably do the 3 harder ones in the next video. They're not really harder. It's the same, just numbers a little bit bigger. So now we have the square root of 72. Again, pause the video here, guys. Find a perfect square that goes into 72. Find a perfect square that goes into 72. Hopefully you got 36. 36 goes into 72. And again, if you can't do that in your head, do 72 divided by 9. You're actually going to find out that 9 goes into 72. However, you always want the biggest number. It wouldn't be wrong if we chose 9 here. It would just take us more steps. Easier to just do 36. "36 is a square, perfect square. It goes into 72. 36 times 2 is 72. Therefore, square root of 36 times square root of 2 is square root of 72. Okay. What is the square root of 36? It's just 6. And then I just leave the 2 there because nothing goes into 2. I mean, technically 1 does, but 1 goes in everything, so we don't count it. All right, actually I have enough time. Let's try to do a couple more of these. All right, let's do, so that's numbers 1, 3, and 7. I'll take a picture of this whole thing as well, and I'll post it on edsby for the notes, for the examples rather, for number 7. So number 7 says we have 7 times the square root of 600. Whenever you have like a whole number in front of it just chilling there, for lack of a better word, just bring that down initially. We're just bringing down the 7 here. And now we're playing the same game. Which of those perfect squares that you have, again, you should have your notes out, which of those go into 600? What's the biggest one of those that go into 600? Kind of giving it away there. Hopefully you recognize that 100 goes into 600. Okay. 100 times what gets me 600? 6. Oh my gosh, my handwriting is failing me. 100 times 6 is 600. So square root of 100 times square root of 6 is 600. That should be 100. Okay, 7 is going to come on down. What is the square root of 100? Look at your notes. What is the square root of 100? It's just 10, because 10 times 10 is 100, so the square root of 100 is 10. Square root of 6, nothing going to square root of 6. I'm just going to bring that down. Okay, 7 times 10 is 70. It's just going to be 70 square root of 6. Okay, I'm kind of running out of time here. Hopefully I didn't go too fast in this, but that's basically how you do these problems, guys. They give you a number, find the perfect square on that chart I gave you that goes into it, and then just split them up. You'll see some teachers do like branches and like trees. Don't do that. It's really not a good idea. My way is, I promise you my way is the best way. Just roll with this. Sometimes it takes a little bit more steps, but it's just much more clear way of doing math. I'm going to post this picture online, guys, and I'll have the answers to these two with work. Besides that, that's the end of my video here. So if you have any questions, please edsby message me, and I can maybe help you on Zoom with this. But that's it for this video.